Welcome to Dark Sorcery. I'm Alfredo Martinez, and I have with me right here Sabrina here, also known as Casting Cauldron on YouTube. It's good to have you on, Sabrina.
Thank you very much for having me on.
You're very welcome. So yeah, go ahead and start out by telling us how your spiritual journey began.
Well, I remember as far back as being a young girl is when I was really remembering dreams. I would wake up in the morning and I would remember my dreams. They were very vivid, they were in color, and I would announce to everyone what I dreamed. So it was just something that I was born with.
Mhm.
My mother was in psychoanalysis, so she would kind of help me understand my dreams, which was good. And she said, you can tell me your dreams, which I did almost every morning. I remember about maybe the age of 10, 11, or 12, I had my first prophetic dream. It was kind of random. It happened the next day. A boy falling off his bike and his baseball cap fell off. And that's when I realized that I had seen what was going to come up. Premonition, right? But it was in a dream.
Right.
So my mom didn't really know what to make of that. About the age of maybe 11, I'm not sure, I began to feel the presence of an adult male next to me, and he said, "I'm going to teach you how to fly."
Okay.
Cool. And I said, "Okay." And he instructed me on how to start and start to come up. And then if I hit the ground, he'd say, "That's okay. Come on up. You can do it." And he would praise me and he would say, "Good." And as you know, the nights would go on whenever he came back, which I don't know was once a week or I don't know. Eventually, it got to the point where I could just jump and fly up very high. So that, I guess, was my first spirit guide that I became aware of.
Mhm.
It might have actually happened right after my father took me to learn meditation. So I'd say I was about 12.
Okay.
Transcendental meditation. 12-year-old to start learning. So it was helping me to regulate my emotions. I was a very energetic person, always thinking. And I began to experience different states of mind through that. And that could have been when I started having the visit from some spirit next to me teaching me to fly. So
Mm.
meditation is wonderful. It's the foundation of what we do.
Right. It's actually more common than people think for spirits or something to be brought into someone's life so that they can be taught something. Do you think sometimes people overlook that, and if they're trying to learn a skill or trying to learn something in magic, rather than just constantly looking in books or maybe watching YouTube videos, they might want to just ask their higher self or their spirit guides for help, just to teach them? I mean, sometimes it's just as simple as that. Would you agree?
I didn't know, but I think that's probably true.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Now, what spiritual books have inspired you to get to where you're at? Had a big impression and impact on you.
Well, I purchased a lot of books in my time, so
Right, right.
I'm trying to think back. Possibly it might have been when I was younger, and I took a Silva mind control class, and we were given his book.
Hmm. Okay.
A very, very good course. I started opening up in that class even more and learning how to take the meditative state of mind and use positive affirmations. So
Mm.
that's the first esoteric book.
Yeah, you you had mentioned about something. I think it might have been on your website, a PDF of positive affirmations that you downloaded and put into like a notebook, and then you were telling people about. Can you tell people a little bit about that?
Thank you very much. I
Yeah. Okay.
felt to really sit down and somehow figure out how to put together a manual so that people could read positive affirmations that had really helped me learn how to regulate my emotions. Not only that, eventually break out of unhealthy beliefs and feelings of insecurities and some codependency, not on chemicals, but on people. So yeah, I was moved through spirit. I've said that book was channeled because I'm not a writer,
Right.
and I finally got it done, and I finally got it uploaded to Amazon Kindle, and then I created a new cover last year, I think, and it's called A Little Book of Affirmations. But what it is it's a set of scripts for about 7 or 8 different goals, which I had learned how to write when I studied hypnotherapy.
Hmm.
And the spoken word is very powerful. And when you learn how to recite things in the proper way, they can really facilitate change.
Yeah, I think that again, another thing that people overlook is that words are very powerful. When you speak things into existence, especially in magic with incantations, you have to be careful about how you word it, what your intention is, and you have
Absolutely.
to be specific sometimes. Would you agree?
Absolutely, 100%. And some people have said, well, it depends on how you're feeling when you make it. But I feel like, why take that chance? Learn how to word it properly and state it properly so that there's absolutely no doubt that the subconscious mind knows what you want.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Um, and I know that with the wording, sometimes it's something just as simple as that. People, like I said, could be they don't know where they're going wrong. But I encourage people to get this PDF because I was listening on the video of all the some of the samples you were giving. I thought, you know what, I never thought about wording it like that. How would they go about getting that?
Thank you very much. You just go to Amazon Kindle app and you can type in my name, Sabrina Castor, Kastur, A Little Book of Affirmations. It comes up on Google as well. And there's a cover with a yellow background and someone with their arms up.
Okay.
It's a very low price.
Yeah, yeah, and I think I'll include a video link, or excuse me, a link to that below in the video description. Now, you had done a video on double action candle. I thought that was interesting, where you got a white section and a black section on top of another, and then you put it on top of a square mirror. Can you explain that to the audience a little bit on what that is?
I hadn't really worked with double action candles much, but I thought I like this idea because you've already got like a black candle on top, so you can burn away negativity first, and then the other candle on the bottom, which is usually maybe red or green for money, and then that one will start to burn. The concept is that you always have to clear away negativity first, right? And then you can really pave the way for the positivity to come in, just to be on the safe side. I had a little problem here, and I had a black and white candle, and I was desperate. So I just decided I would take the oil on the white section and the sulfur-based vanishing oil on the black section and let it burn. And the insects that were coming were gone by the afternoon. So, a lot of it is your intention, and the more you practice, the better you get. It probably could have been any other candle color, but with the vanishing oil on there, it did the trick.
Yeah, so so basically you would burn it down until it burns down a certain color, then you'd snuff it out, and then you would light it again when you sit down the next time, right?
Yes. Some people recommend that you stay there throughout the candle burning from beginning to end. But yeah, you like burning a black candle one night first, and then following up with the other color candle the next night after that. Or if you're following the phase of the moon or the
Mhm.
trans. But yeah, once you've cleared away that negativity, then you can wait a day like the other.
Now, you offer classes, I think, in is it psychokinesis and electrokinesis?
That's the new thing that I'm looking to create a course on. But that actually took me by surprise because of what had happened to me. So being a medium, I can channel energy, right? And sometimes, when we're doing spell work, we're raising energy and we're releasing it, but we don't always see evidence of it.
Right.
But sometimes I do, because the lights will, wherever I was pointing, the lights will go out. So, but I had a really big evidence in January under the wolf moon. And I thought,
Okay.
what is this? So my middle name is Research. So I got on quickly and I started watching. Why do these things happen to me? And it's been the same way with dreams. I have to figure out, how can I teach this to other people? What's happening? What?
Mhm.
So I figured it out and I thought, okay, I can make a course on that. But my real goal was actually to move into this department and save money to market my first course, which was to help people understand their dreams and remember their dreams and use them to solve problems. So that's what I'm really focusing on right now.
I think that some people underestimate dreams themselves because the symbolism is the language of the subconscious, and it's you could really do some intense changes by working with dreams and symbolism alone. I mean, a lot with concerning symbolism, I just said this in another video not too long ago, that symbolism is a universal um, language. And so when you use that in your magical practice, it has a very, very strong effect. Would you agree with that?
Oh, absolutely. I have learned symbols are the language of the subconscious mind, and it will speak to you in that way.
Hmm.
But that's another aspect of our life, just as real as our external life. And they say it is our spirit, our spiritual life, and our spirit that travels when we're sleeping. But we get so caught up in the distractions of our external life, we don't even remember what we dreamed anymore.
Right, right. Well, back to symbolism, I encourage people to use symbols on their candles. If you have a certain intention towards a certain person, you can write their name, date of birth. But if you write symbols along with that, it has a big effect. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. And I do practice that. I read in one of Silver Ravenwolf's books, which was one book that I started when I was getting onto the magical path, that people misunderstand the slash of a pen, right, is not really meaning much, and nothing could be further from the truth, because you're making an impression on your subconscious mind when you write. And then you're adding the power of that symbol or that planet, and the candle and the color and the flame.
Right. Not to mention it's coming from your mind. You're visualizing it first. I think visualization is very, very important in spell work.
Absolutely. And learning how to remember your dreams can help with that as well.
Yeah, it's good. One method I know of is to put a notebook next to your bed, and then as soon as you wake up, you just write it down. What other exercises would you say is good to help you remember your dreams?
That's exactly how I started many years ago when I wanted to really try to decode what it was that I was dreaming. In fact, now as an adult, getting older and revisiting that, I have lots and lots and lots of notebooks called dream journals. Yeah, that's when I started really looking at, okay, when did this happen? Did it happen on what phase of the moon was it? And then later, what day, what was going on in the heavens, what constellation, um, and all those things. So that helps you become more advanced and understand what's going on.
Now that you mention it, I think that's very important to put in your book of shadows every time you do a spell or some kind of ritual. I mean, I always, write the constellations that were in the sky at the time I did it, the day I did it, what I used, etc. But I think I should leave an extra space for my dreams on that day or that particular night.
Mhm.
Now that you've explained what you've explained to me, it would make more sense. Or do you keep your journals separate with dreams, and then your spell will work.
I did eventually start creating just a dream notebook.
Okay.
And I also gave my dreams titles.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good way to help you remember.
Absolutely. Very, very helpful, because when you get to that point where you're probably reading your Akashic records, or you're able to dream more than just what all of your anxieties are, right? Because you are working on yourself and you're growing. Very, very, very helpful. And because of that, I've been able to advance in my magical skills. I would know exactly what phase of the moon to work to do something specific.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would definitely tie in the phase of the moon and then what happened in your dream, since they're both associated with night. But now back to psychokinesis and electrokinesis. What would you say people misunderstand the most about the two?
It's not something that's unnatural.
Mm-hmm.
It is a natural process that happens. We are electrical beings, right?
Yeah.
Our heart pumps from electricity, and we use electricity to make it pump again if it stops. So, and if you've ever seen videos where someone has been standing next to, a gasoline pump, they get out and they've got a spark, right? They've got an electrical spark.
Yeah.
Speakers were rubbing on the carpet, and then poof, there's a gasoline explosion. There's evidence, right?
Yeah. I believe it.
Yeah, we can have this energy come out. And not only can it be used to cast spells, we don't see it, it's going out into the ether, but you can use it to, do things such as charge batteries. This is what I discovered years ago as I stepped on the magical path. And you don't have to be a medium, you don't have to be an energy healer. This is just energy that we can naturally learn to understand and see evidence of it. Some people use it to help heal their pets.
Mm-hmm.
This is an aspect of earth and every, nature, and that we are connected. We've been unplugged, and we need to replug back into nature.
Yeah, you had I saw you did a Facebook post. You put up a video of you where you took some batteries that were dead, and then you just put them in your hand, and you kind of just visualize energy going through them, and then you put them in something else, and they worked right away. So yeah, I mean, just to let everybody know, we all have that ability, and it's more common than people think. I mean, you can do the same thing with a cell phone. I mean, sometimes you could do that. I mean, there is energy coming out of us, and I know that sometimes after doing a spell or after doing a ritual, sometimes I'll touch stuff and I have all this extra static on my hands, or you see a spark. Probably same thing with you too, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah, when that happens, grab some dead batteries, charge them.
I've
Happened to
heard
me.
of people actually healing. Go ahead.
Yeah, it happened to me after what I call having a shamanic dream journey. This was just another growth thing that happened to me later on in life. And I didn't know what was happening, and I didn't know who I was or what was going on. What am I now? I figured I was a spiritualist. I felt very connected to nature. I was outside and just felt very connected. So this is another level, and this all comes from really starting a practice of meditation.
Mm-hmm. I agree. You have to you can't expect much of anything to happen unless you discipline yourself to get down to the beta state and the theta state. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. And it's easy. You just need to do it for a few minutes almost every day. It used to say it would take years and years, right?
Yeah.
I learned in Silver Mind Control it really only takes 30 hours. So if you keep track of how many times you've been letting yourself go into a relaxed state of mind for 15 minutes every other day. You get to the 30-hour mark, congratulate yourself because you've hit a milestone, really.
Yeah. And not to mention that when you start practicing magic more, your own being starts to have some changes. So maybe some spells maybe that weren't working before, after you've been practicing for a while, you may have unlocked certain things in you, certain things in your DNA, and then you can actually do more. Some people don't realize that.
Yeah,
Yeah, go ahead.
totally. And I think that's what sparked me to make a video on spell work for developing psychokinesis, because they go hand in hand.
Hmm. I think a lot of people, go ahead.
Psychic development.
I was going to say, I think a lot of people, they practice for so long and then they think, okay, well, I've accomplished a lot. And no, you have to keep daring to step outside the box, think outside the box. You know, growth is continual. But yeah, I thought some of these classes you were offering are interesting. Now you did a video on money magic, and you said something interesting. I'm going to quote you here. You said, "Money is energy that has been put out and stored. Don't expect to receive money without putting forth energy to receive it." That a lot of people, they want to, okay, well, I'll just do a candle spell, say an incantation, I'll just believe and it'll happen. No, you have to put the energy out to, because that's energy that's been put out there to be, for that money to, that concept of it to exist. So you have to put out the effort to receive it. Basically is what I got out of that.
Well,
Cheaters never prosper is what you were saying.
yeah, I don't remember which video that was. But yeah, and once you become more practiced, it's easier. But in the beginning, you definitely have to keep working the energy.
Not to mention the fact that as we go about our daily lives, it's like we're picking up a bunch of static and gunk our aura is. You know, kind of like when you were a kid, you used to play with those sticky hands out of the 50-cent machine, 25-cent machine. And then by a couple of days, it's all got all this dirt and stuff on it. And you gotta cleanse your aura too. You know, that's important as well. I think so.
Absolutely. And I do talk about burning a black candle every Saturday to help clear away your negativity and
Yes.
negativity that you might. But also talking about unplugging at the end of the day.
Hmm.
You go out to work outside of the home, or even if you don't, and you've had to run a bunch of errands or whatever, you've encountered other people. And when you get home, you might be tired, you might be hungry, but it's a good time to actually just do some type of breathing exercises or some type of,
Yeah.
cleansing, whatever you might have picked up while you were out.
Yeah. Not to mention that it's important to make sure that you're grounded, because um, if you're constantly up, and you got so much on your mind, and then you try to sit down and do divination, you may not get accurate readings in your divination. I've had instances where I've tried to do some divination without grounding myself, and I don't always get accurate answers. But if you just take the time to ground yourself, whatever way you choose to, then your answers will tend to be more accurate. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. And you can share how you ground. What I do is make sure that I'm able to relax and get down to a state where my mind is clear and I can ask my question. If not, I don't do it.
Yeah, breathing exercises, I would say, is probably best for that. You can have some crystals that, are good for grounding as well. But I would say breathing exercises are the way to go. But tell us a bit about your classes that you offer and your website.
Well, I created an online course on dream work about a year ago. I decided it was time to do that. I realized years ago that it was time for me to teach, but I had other things going on, so I had to wait. Um, Once I learned how to sit down, I had already created a curriculum and taught a course on self-hypnosis to adults in my community for 3 seasons at the local instructional planning center, which is with the school district. And I'm in the Bible Belt. It was the fastest filling class they've ever had. So that was, that made me feel good.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, more confidence because I was nervous. There kind of honed my skills at standing in front of people and talking about it. But I wanted to put it on digital because I wanted it to be evergreen and be there for people to access and purchase to have in their home library.
Mm.
And I finally learned how to condense the self-hypnosis and a magical practice together so that by doing the techniques that are in my online course, you're basically practicing self-hypnosis, using elements of nature, activate your third eye, and really help you achieve, remembering your dreams and following these guidelines. And it's just a mini course, really. It's only about 30 minutes long. But that's all you need because that's the foundation right now, really. That's the foundation. Once you learn those things and you continue practicing, you're on your way.
Right. I think what it comes down to is just developing new habits, and new ways of looking at things, new ways of going about things. It's basically reprogramming your mentality is how I would sum it up.
Yeah, a gentle shift of looking inward more and working to actually connect to your spiritual life, your inner life that you have when you're sleeping. It's like a gentle shift to look out your window at nature once or twice a day when most people don't really pay attention.
Yeah.
About the birds that had flown south and then they came back before winter was over. And so we look at nature for the things that are happening. And this part of our nature. And if you spend 6 to 8 hours sleeping, there are some things in there that are happening that you can, it's part of self-development. It's the other part of our self-development.
It is. And if people, if they learn to just be in tune with nature more, then they can pick up on that. I mean, there's correspondences everywhere in nature. You can just, whether it's in numerology and symbolism in things. If something symbolizes what you think would be good for a spell, take it and put it on your altar.
Absolutely.
And again, and you mentioned about you mentioned so much about the mind. It's one of the Hermetic principles that everything that we see is mental and can be altered just by changing our way of thinking and our mentality. That's the key.
Yes, it is. Really, really is. And that's what helped me break out of many, many things that I had been exposed to and learned that just were not healthy, and they were not allowing me to have more energy or try to achieve things.
Right. Yeah. Agreed. And also, I want to tell everyone to check out your YouTube channel, Casting Cauldron. So I'll have a link of that below in the video description. There's a lot of good advice and exercises she talks about. She goes live. I know you go live sometimes on YouTube, answer people's questions.
Yeah. So. I do want more people. I've started that about 3-4 months ago because I really wanted to get back into interacting. I had done it in the summer and then I had to get away from it, but I'm back to that. And then now I have the Facebook group, so that's another place. And for anybody who purchases my course, they need to go to the Facebook group where they can follow up, and connect with me and anybody else you want to engage with about the work they're doing in the Dream Recall course, which is specific.
Great. And everyone who's watching, I'll have all the links of Sabrina's social media below in the video description. So check that out. Go to her YouTube, subscribe. And thank you, Sabrina, for coming on. And thank you for your time.
Well, I thank you very much for having me.
All right. And everyone who's watching, make sure you like and subscribe to Dark Sorcery.
Yes.